So we are still running alpha here at Ravn. So today I have deployed many new changes, and a lot of these changes is actually not something that you're gonna see just right away, and then some is actually changes that has been deployed to simulation. So a lot of the changes that I've been doing has been improvements to live trading. So this is mostly where I have been focusing on the last sort of 7 days, is just testing out how Ravn behaves in live trading, because this is kind of one of the challenges. Is we have this simulation adapter that tries at our best effort to simulate how it's going to behave in live trading. And so this is basically what I'm testing now, that what we see in simulation is actually also what we can expect to happen in live trading. And there's definitely something that is very different, where it's going to be almost impossible to actually simulate that. And I'm going to explain to you a little bit about what actually happened during this live trading. So if we go to Polymarket's documentation, we have an order life cycle. And one of the challenges that I have here in Ravn, that is something that I'm trying to solve, is being able to have trading bots and then sort of an internal order monitor that can handle multiple venues, like multiple markets such as Polymarket, Calci, and all the different prediction markets that we want to trade on. And the way Polymarket handles their sort of order life cycle might be different from how other handle their order life cycle. And one thing that was kind of an issue that I've been trying to solve has been the the trade statuses. So when you when you send over an order to Polymarket, it goes through different statuses. So we have matched, mined, confirmed, retrying, and failed. So it goes through all these statuses, these trade statuses. After matching, trades progress through these statuses. So first you have matched, which is not terminal. And basically you call the API, and then it finds someone else on the order book, and it basically matches those two together. But it's not final. And this is actually one of the issues that I had, and I'm going to explain a little bit about what happened. Then it's going to go through mined. So this is where transaction has been mined into the blockchain, but it's not final. That means that you can't really expect this order to be filled with 100% certainty. It's only when it's terminal, so when it's confirmed, and that's when the trade has achieved finality, and that's actually when it's successful, and then you can say, yeah, now it's actually filled. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because this is where I had some issues with the stop loss and take profit. So what I experienced was, if we go back to Ravn here, now you can see here how I have, and this is I'm going to talk about a little bit. Also, we have added these boundaries. So when you apply a stop loss and a take profit, you can actually see the lines here where it's set on a particular order. And what I experienced was that it was actually, we actually had a take profit around, at the upper bounds here. But it was actually, it never filled. It was matched. And this was really annoying. I'm going to see if I can find the trade. I think I probably deleted it. So it was actually matched. It did find someone on the order book to sell it to. But it was never mined. It never had the finality, and I was so confused. What's happening? Why? And then it started to drop. Like, it was basically in this situation here where it actually did take profit here. It was matched, but it never fell through to the other statuses, and then it fell down here. And eventually, Ravn wasn't able to actually handle that scenario. And that's what I've been working on, where it can actually handle scenarios where it doesn't have finality. And that's the reason why I also extended the terminal, event terminal, so we can see exactly what's going on. And these events here differ from Polymarket, because all the different venues that we're going to implement is going to interface to the same kind of events, right? Internal Ravn events, so we can have a trading bot that sort of trades on the same kind of events. Like, if we had to have all these different kinds of events from different venues, it's going to be a mess. So that's, this is something I talked about in my earlier videos, where we have this event bus, and it's kind of unifying all the different kinds of events. So Polymarket might call it's something, and Calcium might call it something else, but here in Ravn we're gonna call it one thing. So I've extended that so it more reliably matches what we expect from Polymarket. That's why you also see we have order matched, for example, and then we have order filled. So it goes through all those steps in the sort of in the backend that we would expect coming from Polymarket as well. So yeah, that's something we have to handle, and that's something you have to handle in your own trading bot if you are building out your own trading bots. Is basically all these. And oh yeah, so another thing which was kind of an issue was that you never get any information about that it's canceled, anything like that. It was just still matched. I'm gonna see if I can find this now. So all these is actually live trades that I've been doing where I just, test out, I've been running bots and just seeing how take profit and stop loss actually works in production. So, and you can see here, it's actually this one here, and it still says matched. So, and this data here is pulling directly from Polymarket's API. So this is kind of, yeah, it's kind of strange that it's actually, it just doesn't do anything more. And then you kind of have to handle that in the backend. Like, okay, you have a match. Well, how long are you actually going to wait for the order to progress over to the next status? And yeah, and this is a real challenge, and I don't know if this is just some kind of an extreme edge case, but at least it's something I'm handling in Ravn. So we have a basically we also now polling the API for order statuses, like in the background after the order has been submitted, and not only relying on the user events WebSocket. And then we also have a timeout. So we actually have a timeout after it's matched. We are gonna have a timeout. And then if we don't see the order progresses within a certain amount of seconds, we're going to try to again initiate the sell. So that is for now how I've chosen to handle this. Yeah, and then there has been some changes to the stop loss. So if you go to the action nodes, there's actually a lot of different features that you can set. So currently, and I still have a pull request that I have not added yet to the production build of Ravn. But what we have now is when the stop loss and take profit is gonna arm, meaning that when is it actually gonna be ready to trigger. And this was another issue because you have on Polymarket partial fills, and what happened to me was when I sent over the order, like a fraction of the order was filled. Like maybe I sent over an order of 5 shares, but it was like 0.0001 or something like that that was filled initially. That one had a stop loss take profit, but then the rest of the order, I believe, if I remember correctly, did not have a stop loss or take profit. Anyway, it was kind of a mess, and that's why I have added now this new setting where you can define when the stop loss and take profit should arm. Should it be on the partial fill immediately, or do you want to wait until the order is completed? You can also combine this with the order type. So this one is actually not going to have any effect in simulation, but it will have an effect in live trading. So you can choose between different order types, so good till cancelled, for example, fill or kill. So this one, for example, if you have a partial fill, but then the remaining is not going to be filled, it's going to cancel completely. And that's actually going to avoid one of those issues that I had where, it only filled like a very small portion of the order. And, most of the cases, we probably don't want that. In some cases we want, but it's something you can test out. So again, here in the documentation, we have the different order types, and this is something I've implemented now. Again, this is only for live trading, and Ravn is not yet enabled for live trading. You cannot live trade on Ravn yet, but it's something that will be enabled in the future when everything is stable. So the different order types is good till cancelled. So this one rests on the book until it's filled or cancelled. Use case, default for passive limit orders. And then good till date, active until a specified date time, UTC seconds timestamp unless filled or cancelled first. So these one auto expires orders before known events. So if you select this one, you will have an expiration where you can select the date. And then you can also set the time here. You can also, we actually also implemented this kind of indirectly in the action node. So you can go down here and you can put the order timeout. So if it's resting on the order book, you can set a timeout here, and then it's gonna get canceled automatically if it haven't been filled yet. So this is basically the same. The difference is the order timeout here is something that Ravn handles by itself by simply manually canceling the order, while this order type is something that's set with the payload to Polymarket, and then we are sort of handling over that logic to Polymarket to cancel the order. So yeah, you can set that. And I mean, of course, if you wanna control it down to like seconds, which, you know, is relevant for like some strategies, I would suggest this one here. This one here is specific for a time period and date in the future. So actually they also have different purposes, right? Because this one is a fixed time. So if you have a trading bot that runs on, let's say, the 5-minute markets, this one doesn't really make sense at all. So it only makes sense if, say, you have a single mention markets and you don't want to have this one resting on the book, you know, on a certain time period. Maybe you know exactly when this event is gonna, you know, stop or something like that. So this one then is kind of different, right? The order timeout, because it's relative to when the order is placed. So you can create a strategy that places orders basically all the time given these different conditions, and then this one is seconds before it's gonna get timed out. So it's two different sort of logics. And yeah, so if you go back to the Polymarket order type, so we have fill or kill. So this one must be filled immediately and entirely, or the whole order is cancelled. So this is all or nothing execution. And then we have a fill and kill, fills as many shares as available immediately, then cancel any unfilled remainder. Yeah, so a little bit different. This one here, it has to fill all the shares. If not, it's gonna get canceled entirely. And then we have fill and kill. So that basically means if we can only fill half of the order, then we do that, and then the rest of the order is gonna get cancelled. So a little bit different. And let's say that we did good till cancel and we had a partial fill, then we would still have a partial order resting on the book. So you could have half an order filled, you know, active trade, and then the rest still resting on order book. So all of these is like, you know, small tweaks you can do to your trading bot, and this is now possible in Ravn. Yeah, so if you want to participate in the beta that we're gonna launch hopefully next week, let's see how the alpha goes. Again, I might postpone it again if it's not stable enough. I want to make sure that Ravn is stable before we move over to the beta. So if you want to participate in the beta, there's a wait list. So I'm gonna link to that down below. So there's a wait list on ravn.gg where you can provide your email address, and then you will get an invitation for the beta when that launches. And then if you have not joined PolyTraders yet, it's a free to join Discord community where you can chat with other builders that does Polymarket trading bots, also trading bots on other prediction markets. So I'm gonna make sure to leave an invite down in the description below. So with that said, until next time, see you and have a good one. Bye bye.